Hello and welcome back to Lord Fenton Gaming Plays Baldur's Gate 3. I'm your host Lord Fenton. In this Baldur's Gate 3 build video, we're doing the Pure Sorcerer Draconic Blood Draconic Fury build. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 builds like this. Do not forget notification bells so be update and much more. So, here's some pros and cons of this build. Number one, you're going to do a lot of AoE damage. In other words, it could be big areas, you'll clear the area. In other words, you're a room clearer. Number two, one word, meta magic. There's so many options with spells you get to abuse with that. Another advantage is the sorcerer points. Yeah, you get to manage that, and it'll help you out big time. Also regenerate some of your spell slots too. Another thing, you're going to be the talker of the party due to the fact you have very high charisma. Last but not least is the Draconic Bloodline. You get to select some of the elementals. Now, disadvantage as follows. You're squishy, number one. Number two, your spell selection is extremely limited. And the disadvantage is also the sorcerer points. If you use too many of it, you're kind of useless. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, you guessed it, the character creation process. So here we go on it. And oh yeah, one more thing. Say goodbye-bye to the nice shadow. See, there we go. We're going to go ahead and go over the races. But before we go ahead and do that, I'm going to go ahead and explain on who's actually very good for this build. Now, if you want to turn Gale into a sorcerer, that is fine. However, the Dark Urge is the actually best way to go for this build for a few reasons. That's the Dark Urge default, I should say, class. As you guess, is a sorcerer. Yeah, you know, it's a storm sorcery. That's all right. We could change that, of course, to, you guessed it, to a Draconic Bloodline, which is cool. Yeah, you'll get the Dragonborn race. You can also change any other races if you definitely want to. So let's go ahead and start that now. We're going to talk about the Elven race. First of all, your base racial speed movement is 9 meters per turn. This is very good. You'll move around quite a bit. Number two, you have Elven weapon training, which includes long swords, short bows, and long bows. We're using the bows and weapons just really for, you know, items from it, not actual use. You get dark vision, which is 12 meters. Fate Ancestry advantages on being charmed and cannot be put to sleep. That is two, I should say, crowd controls. That's good. Now, if you pick the high elf, you get to pick a level 0 spell. I do heavily advise the Firebolt spell. They'll help you out greatly. That's my advice on that. Yeah, you're going to be a Pyromaster with this build. Well, somewhat of it early on. Or at times through the game. And another good race is a Wood Elf. Because instead of 9 meters, you add 1.5 to it, which is 10.5 meters. Which is good, folks. Math is fun. Anyways, Tieflings, they get 9 meters per turn, which is nice. Now, just like our Elven cousins here, they get Dark Vision. 12 meters. They can see in the dark, yeah. I should explain that much more better, but it's still good. And Hellish Resistance, not only they have good fire resistance, they only take half damage from fire. Use Tieflings, they start with Produce Flame, then eventually they get Darkness and another spell. So if you want to go that route, they're very good with this. Now, next up to Bat are the humans. They're actually very good for this race. I'll explain in a bit. Now, humans, they have, I should say, 9 meters per turn movement. That is not bad at all. Well, actually, it's like the other races. That's good. They have Civil Militia, which is all right. We're not going to use those weapons, but still. We're mainly here for this. Human Versatility, we get 1 additional skill point to add, which is really good. Let me switch to Draconic Blood, and I'm going to just demonstrate with Charlatan, because we got Deception, Slay of Hands. We'll do that. And let's go to skills. So normally, for example, you pick, let's see here, Persuasion, Deception, Intimidation. Those are your talking skills you'll focus on. Now, because of that, you can also focus on another option. You can do Performance. They'll help you out with some talking skills or acrobats. Up to you all on that. Next up are the Githyanki. I have a few reasons why I'm choosing this race. They're a good underdog race. Astral Knowledge, gain proficiencies in all skills of a chosen ability. This is really good. Now they get level 0 spells, they get free Mage Hands, and they get free Misty Steps. So if you want to expand a slot, then yeah, that's the way to go. They have 9 meters for movement speed, which is good. And, of course, they have martial proficiencies as well, which is short swords, long swords, and great swords, and some armor. We're not going to focus on those, but still, these spells are nice. Next up are the half-elves. Like they're both parents, they gain 9 meters per turn. Their human side, or say human parent side, they get Silver Militia, which is alright. Dark Vision, like the Elven side, they get 12 meters in the dark. And like their Elven side, they have advantages against being charmed and cannot be magically put to sleep, just like the other races. Now, High Half Elf, they gain the Firebolt spell, which is good, like a level 0 spell to select. And Wood Elves, they gain 1.5 movement speed, just like their parents who are Wood Elves. So that is a very good selection of the race. So let's go to the next one, Halfling. They gain 7.5, I say, movement speed per turn, which is not bad. And Lucky, they if you roll 1 on attack roll, ability check, or save throw, you get to reroll again, which is nice. And they have advantage on save throws against being frightened, which is good for this build. Now, Lightfoot Halflings, they have natural advantage on stealth, or if you want to go for a strong heart, they have a good get resistance against poisons. That's very good early on. And I was about to say, if you're going to go for the Dark Urge race, then go for Dragonborn, which is alright. I say either the Elves, Tieflings, or Githyanki as your selection. And if you're going to do Elves, pick the High Elves, so this way you get a free level 0 spell to pick. So let's go over this. We get our level 1 spell slot unlocked, and we get to select our spell since we're limited to, of course, spell selection. Just like the other D&D games, you're really severely limited to what spells you get to pick as a sorcerer. So my advice is, if you're not any of the other races that has a free level 0 spell, so pick Firebolt, the Ray of Frost, Acid Splash, and Mage Hands, because Mage Hands is always useful on that. And yeah, those are my advice on that. But I'll definitely go over some of the other spells. Blade Ward gives you nice resistance. Let's see here, what else? Ray of Frost, that'll give you a nice, I should say, it freezes foes, a nice ice damage, acid damage, a little AoE effect on that, which is good. And let's see what else on that. Oh yeah, Shocking Grasp, if you can go for that, it's like a touch AoE, touch spell, but it's good because it does electric damage, or they call it lightning damage. So let's go over level 1 spells. As for level 1 spells, I'm going to go each and every one of them. Burning Hands, you do 3 to 18 damage. This is like a touch spell type of thing. Now, if they resist, they only take half, so you got to go in close quarters for that. Charm Person, you charm a humanoid, prevent them from attacking you, so if they come towards you, you charm them. Now, there's a Mind Flayer ability that does the same. Chromatic Orb, this is good, so you do 3 to 24 damage of your elemental choice. You'll be using this quite a bit, even with meta magic. Color Spray, you blind the creatures in front of you, which is 33 hit points or lower, which is alright. Use scrolls for that. And Disguise Self, you can magically change your appearance. This is only good to cheat the Speak with the Dead in case you kill someone. Expeditious Retreat, you gain dash immediately and a bonus action so you can run away. It's alright, but there's better ways to escape battle. My advice is you're not going to escape battle. Come on. False Life, you gain 7 temporary hit points until long rest. I say use a scroll for that if you want to go for that. Featherfall, you and your nearby allies get immunity to falling damage. There's actually scrolls and potions you could use to abuse that. Fog Cloud, the cloud, I should say, blinds your foes and heavily scares them. There's better ways to do it for spells. Ice Knife, 3 to 22 damage, which is ice and of course piercing. Little small AoE thing, and also makes the surface slick, which is alright. Enhanced Leap, it's like a super jumping spell. There's potion of vaulting for that. Mage Armor, the target will receive armor class to 13 plus his dex modifier. That's not bad. It's a good off turn if you want to go a little bit more defensive. Magic Missiles, so that's like each of the missiles that you shoots 3 out does 2 to 5 force damage. This is actually pretty good. You should select that. Ray of Sickness, you'll poison the target, which does 2 to 16 damage. They can resist that. Shield, what happens is this reactionary spell. When you hit that, you gain armor class by 5. I say pass on that. Sleep, put your creatures to sleep. Enemies, they're up to 24 hit dice. I'm going to say, there's 24 hit points, pass on that. Thunder Wave, you do 2 to 16 damage. You push foes back. And if they resist, they take half, which is a good spell to have. Witch Bolt is 1 to 12 damage total. Lightning, you cast it over and over again. My advice is Chromatic Orb and Magic Missiles, because Chromatic Orb could change elementals. Magic Missiles, you do more damage. Now, honorable mention is the Mage Armor. So, first of all, you gain Draconic Resistance and a lot more hit points. So, those are good. Yeah, so Draconic Resistance, which is our armor class up to 13 AC, if you don't wear any armor. And there's your hit points you gain as well, just like a Gold Dwarf. Couple that with a Gold Dwarf, you got a lot of hit points. Now, Draconic Ancestry Red, that's fire. You get mage, I should say, blazing hands. That my fire spell. Black, you gain his grease spell, just like the actual spell. Blue, you gain his the witch bolt, like the spell it is. So I'm just going to go over each and every one of you do get. White, you get the armor Athesy, which gives you 5 temporary hit points and cold feedback damage for any foes that hit you. Green, you get Ray of Sickness, just like the spell itself. Let's see here. Gold, you get Disguise Self. Pass on that. I mean, seriously. Silver, you gain his Featherfall. There are scrolls and other items. I'll give you that, so pass on that as well. Bronze, you get Fog Cloud. If you're into that, that's fine. Yeah, so let's talk about more. Copper, you gain his Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It's actually a good crowd control spell. I used it actually once during the campaign. And you get, I say, Brass, which is the sleep spell. Either go with red for the burning hands or black for grease, so it's the way you put the grease on fire. As for backgrounds, I'm going to go ahead and say either do Charlatan, which gives you Deception, Slay of Hands, which is nice, or Noble, which is History and Persuasion. I do say go with Charlatan. That's the best way to go. You get 2 skills you'll be really using. Let's go do the ability scores. So let's make sure we put Dex as 1 point and Charisma as 2. We're going to keep Strength at 8 because that's going to be our weakness. Dexterity, we're going to pump it up to 16 and stop there. So that'll be good for armor class and anything else of the matter. Constitution 14, of course, for more hit points, which is always nice. And plus some Constitution saving throws. Intelligence we'll leave at 10, so we'll put it as average, which is good. Wisdom at 10, because there'll be some story stuff we'll use. And Charisma we'll do at 16. We're going to be pumping that up like crazy later on to 20. That'll be good for our talking skills as well. As for skills, I'm going to go and say tick off Arcana. Instead, do Intimidation, Deception, and Persuasion. Those are your 3 main focuses there. Make sure you grab any of the backgrounds has a combination of either one of those, one in there, which is good. Now, if you're a human, then go ahead and do Performance. So we're done with the character creation, so now let's go ahead and level on up. Now we'll go ahead and level up from 2 to 12. So I'm using Hireling as an example, of course, leveling up our character. Yeah, there's still party member that's a sorcerer, unless you play the Dark Urge, which I haven't got through that game yet. Actually, level, I should say, 1 to 12. But we'll go over each of the things we get. So we get to create sorcery points, so which is good because sorcery points is used for meta magic, and meta magic is very powerful in this game. You also create spell slots as well, in case we actually need that. It costs sorcery points. Yeah, sorcery points is like currency for this build. So let's go ahead and select our spells. I'm going to go and say it's Thunderwave for now because we're going to go ahead and replace that in the next level with something else. And yet you can replace spells at any time as long as you level up. So just remember that. Now, as for our class passives, we're going to select 2 meta magics. Now, twin spells is spells that only target one creature will target additional ones. So there are certain spells out there you definitely want to abuse this with. I'll point out twin magic as we do go along on those spells. You can also do a level 0 spell as well. I picked the big boys. And distance spell, what this does, decrease range of spells by 50%. Your melee spells will have a range of 9 meters. So Burning Hands will now have 9 meters. Same thing as any other spells that requires touch. Ding, level 3. So we're going to get a few things out of this. And yeah, let's see here. We get some spell slots. Another sorcery point. Yeah, that's our currency. So just remember we're banking this. And we have access to Circle 2 spells. Or in this case, level 2 spells. Now, blindness, it blinds a creature. So our attack rolls against will have a disadvantage. While you have advantage against the blind creatures, if you want to go for that, it's okay. Blur, attackers have disadvantage on attack rolls against you, which is alright. Now, here's another one that people actually do use. Cloud Daggers. It does 416 damage in a small area if they go by the Cloud Daggers. You just drop it down. It's fun times. Crown of Madness. It's still madness on humanoid creatures. They'll attack anyone around, even if they're allies too, which is alright, but there's better. Now, Darkness. It skirts the area, blinds your targets. Creatures cannot attack from the darkness. Dark Vision. Heavily pass on it. Just trust me. You can use Dark Vision potions if you're not a human. If you can't use Dark Vision, but everybody else has Dark Vision. Detect Thoughts, I'll say pass too because there's a potion on that. Enhance ability, if you gain ability, advantage on ability of your choice, it's like double dice roll. Let the druids and clerics do that. Enlarge or reduce, that's not bad. It makes your target big or small. Let your wizards do that, obviously. Gust of wind, a strong wind that could knock your foes off balance, which is good. I say pass though because some better spells out there. Hold person, this is actually a good one. Holds a humanoid enemy. They can't move or act, and if any melees attack it, it's always a critical hit. Invisibility, you'll be invisible. Any action except for moving around breaks it. Knock spells, it opens the door. Since you're living on spells, I say pass. Now this one's the big daddy, mirror image. Each image is 3 AC. You have a total of 3 images. Very good. Misty Step teleportation spell. If you're in trouble, you teleport around. That's good. Phantasmal Force, that's 1 to 6 damage. It's alright. But I say pass on this. And let's go ahead and talk about my favorite spell, Scorching Ray. So each ray, you get a total of 3, does 2 to 12 fire damage. This is very good. Do not pass up on it at all. See invisibility, this gives you ability to see invisibility foes and such. Use potions for that. Or do something else in the story. Shatter, you do 3 to 24 damage. It's like AoE Thunder. And of course you can knock your foes down and such. And Web, it slows enemies down unless they're immune to it. I'm going to say Scorching Ray. Lock your answers in on that. And we get ourselves another class passive. In other words, Meta Magic. And what we do is Quickening. So in other words, spells that cost an action will be a bonus action. So, for example, you could cast 2 fireballs. Seriously, with a bonus action and your regular action. We're going to go ahead and change out Thunder Wave like I said before. Instead, we're going to go ahead and add, let's see, where is it at? Mirror Image. See, we'll get our 3 images, total of 9 AC, which is good. So let's go ahead and do that and level up next. Now we're at level 4, so every level is 4, we get feats, and we also get another sorcery point, so we get more currency to abuse and use. See, there you go. We get another level 0 spell. Let's go ahead and talk about that. I'm going to probably say is Poison Spray. That's 1 to 12 poison damage. It's a nice spray. Good to abuse on certain foes. Now we get ourselves another level 2 spell. Pick Misty Step no matter what, because it'll give you nice teleportation around. It's one of the most abused level 2 spells along with Mirror Image and Scorching Ray. Now I'm going to do Elemental Adapt because this does the spells you cast and attacks you made with a certain elemental. You get a nice bonus with it. Also it ignores resistance. And a little bit extra. Also you cannot roll 1 with fire damage, which is good. Now Ding level 5. So we get ourselves another sorcery point, which is good. Levels. Let's go ahead and go over the level 3 spells first. Blink is like a little teleportation at the end of a round. You blink somewhere to safety, which is not bad. You vanish, then you move somewhere else. It's alright spell. Still, it's better ones out there. Counter spell. You could try to stop a spell from casting. I say this is your 3rd spell. You only have 2 3 spells to choose from. Daylight. I'm going to say is let your wizards, druids, or clerics do that. It gets a big light. It's great against certain encounters and exposed rogues. Fear targets will have disadvantage against you on their checks and attack rolls. They'll be afraid of you. They'll run away. Fireball, the mother of all level 3 spells. 8 to 48 fire damage in a nice AoE area circle. Now, on save, targets take half. This is a spell you could definitely use as a bonus action and the other one as well. Grant Flight is like the fly spell. There's a potion that does that and items too. Gaseous forms transfer you and allies into a gas cloud. It's alright, but I'll say pass. Haste, this is a great spell. Now, when you're hasting, you gain an action, become faster, and gain a +2 armor class. And then you become a little bit slow after its rounds are over. Great spell to abuse. Hypnotic Pattern, this is like a crowd control spell. It's alright, but it's better. Lightning Bolt, a frontal AoE spell. It does shoots lightning straight towards foes. It's alright. Protection for energy gives you resistance to acid, cold, and Sarah, the elements. Pass on that. Sleet Storm, it knocks concentration of foes, makes the surface slick and douse fire. Slow, it does the opposite of haste, slows down your foes. They lose some AC and dex saves. Now, Stinking Cloud, this will make your foes nauseous, another crowd control. Pick Fireball or Haste. I say Fireball for this level. Now we're at level 6, so after this we're halfway through. We get another sorcery point, and we get some free stuff here. Let's go over that. See, level 3 spell slot unlocked, your free sorcery point. I'm mentioning it twice. It's always happy to see that. Elemental affinity damage. When a spell deals damage to the type of element associated with, you add your charisma modifier to it. So with our fire, for example, if we have 18 charisma, we have +4 damage, which is good. Seriously, folks. See, my charisma modifier right now is 3, but that's all right. Now we get elemental affinity resistance, so we use this 1 sorcery point to get more resistance into fire, so that's always good. Pick haste. If you if you already did pick haste, pick fireball. Haste you're gonna be using quite a bit with this build. You'll see. Now we're at level 7, so things are looking up. So we're now at the latter half of the levels. So we get ourselves another spell selection to choose from. And of course, yep, you guessed it, we get 1 sorcery point and a level 4 spell. So we're starting to get the good stuff. Banishment. This will temporarily banish a summon or so to another plane. Blight, it does 8 to 64 damage. Now this one you could cast twice with a certain meta magic. It's very powerful. Plants always take 64. Undeads and constructs take 0, but it's a good spell. Confused, it's alright. It's a crowd control type. It'll attack random people. Dimension Door, you and your allies could teleport. I'm going to say is pass on because there's scrolls and items you could abuse with that. Dominate Beasts is like a charm spell with beasts. You could make them dominate, fight for you. It's rare beast in the game later on. Pass on it. Great invisibility. It's like invisibility, but if you do an action or such, you can still be invisible as long as your caster is concentrating. Ice Storm, the mother of all AoE spells for level 4. 6 to 40 damage total. And if not, they resist. And a slick surface. It's very powerful. Polymorph, you could transform a foe into a sheep. It's like a crowd control spell. Now, I say pass on Polymorph. Stone Skin. Now, anybody with that, they only take half with blunt, piercing, slashing. Let your druid do that. Now, Wall of Fire. Drop the Wall of Fire down. Anybody steps forward is 5 to 40 damage. Pick Ice Storm because you can do a lot of AoE with that. Now we're at level 8. So every level's a 4. Like I said before, you get a feat. If not, I'll remind everyone. Free sorcery point, and now we get a spell. I'm going to go ahead and do his Blight, so this way I can cast that twice with certain meta magic. Especially against plants, they'll suffer double the damage. Pick ability improvement, all your points in the charisma. So you're going to put your points in the charisma at 8 and 12. We'll get to 20 with this build. Now, next up is we're going to level up once again. And yeah, we look at that, man. Another spell slot, another spells to talk about. Cloud Kill, 5 to 40 AoE damage, drops a poisonous cloud. And it does that every round until concentration is broken or battle's over. Cone to Cold, it does 8 to 64 frontal damage, which is not bad. Those two are either good, but I prefer Cloud Kill though. Now this one, Dominate Person, you can make a humanoid fight alongside you. It's like a little bit more stronger charm spell, which is alright. This one's good. Whole monsters. You got paralyze a creature, which is a monster. That happens. Attacks from within 3 meters are always critical hit against the monster that's hold. Very useful. Some bosses are monsters and cannot resist that. Insect Plague, you do 4 to 40 damage with that AoE. Make difficult terrain and perception checks. They suck if they enter it. This one's like a disguise spell. I pass on that one. Now telekinesis is good. The more you toss them in the air or so, the much more damage. Bigger they are, harder they fall, which is all right. People use that though for some big creatures like the those Steel Watchers. Wall of Stone, drop it down and make them go around. I say pick Cloud Kill because I felt like a nice AoE poison type is good. So this way they step through it, they have to get out, and they'll die when they do. Now level 10, that's where we're at, and yeah, when they die, like I said before, they'll come to you or your allies after you. Then they kill them. We get a free sorcery point. We get ourselves a passive. So I picked Blade Ward because this will give someone blunt piercing and slashing. Half damage for 2 rounds, which is good. As for spells, I'm going to do is hold monsters. So this way I could crowd control some bosses. There's 1 or 2 bosses that are actually sucker to that. That's why I picked it. Otherwise, the insect one's good. As for meta magic heightened spells, so targets of the spell requires saving throws will have an automatic disadvantage, which is good. That's why I picked it. Some spells require saving throws, so we heighten one of our spells, like for example, maybe hold monster. You'll abuse that. The other ones are alright, but I say that one's much more better. Now at level 11, we get Circle 6 spells, aka level 6 spells for those who don't play Ultima series. Yep, see it's level 6 spell slots, and there's Sorcery Point. Yeah, we keep on getting these though. And we get fly since we have Draconic Blood. Yet no reason why we didn't pick the fly spell. Forgot to mention that. Arcane Gate, you create 2 teleport portals to go from one to the other, which is alright. Chain Lightning, the ultimate damaging spell, does 10 to 8 damage. I said no, 10 to 80 damage. It arcs from one foe to another. Targets resist, that only takes half. Circle of Death, big old circle. Everybody within it takes 8 to 8 damage, which is alright. Disintegrate, 50 to 100 damage. This is the ultimate killer spell. Great to have. You could twin those. You could cast that twice with meta magic. Eye Bite, that's like a form of crowd control pass. Global Invulnerability, anybody in it is immune to it. I say have someone like Gale do it or use Scroll. Sunbeam, another good alternative. It shoots a straight beam for 6 to 48 damage. Now I say Chain Lightning because you do a lot of damage against foes like that. Last but not least, Ding, level 12. Again, we get ourselves another feat and 1 spell. Yeah, and a sorcery point. Yeah, I always have to mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and select Disintegrate because it does 50 to 100 damage. You could do the twin one, and you could shoot 2 at once. Makes it about 100 to 200. And put your points in the Charisma to 20, and that's about it for leveling up from, you guessed it, 2 to 12. Let's go talk about the next topic. In Baldur's Gate 3, there are 3 chances to permanently do some ability score boosts, 1 for each act, so I'll go over each of them. In Act 1, when you fight Auntie Ethel, you drop her underneath 10 hit points. She'll start to grovel saying, "Please spare me." This happens, you get an ability item of your choice that is usually +1. Well, actually it is +1. Now, avoid your paladin doing this because your paladin might become an Oathbreaker. So either have you or someone else close to Auntie Ethel when this happens to go ahead and do it. So if you're going to do that, pick Charisma. Yeah, trust me, with this build, you want Charisma for that. Squeeze as much Charisma as you can. In Act 2, with a Steron in your party, yeah, you have to have a Steron. So if a Steron left your party before you reach that point, you're not going to be able to get this one. With a Steron in your party, have him by Araja. That is the female drow that not only sells alchemy items, but some great endgame items, which, by the way, you should clean out her inventory at the Moonrise Towers in Act 2. Yes, heard me right, Moonrise Towers. Play it cool in order to get this +2 strength potion. Now, don't have you to drink it. Have someone else like a Steron or anybody else to chug it so they get the +2 strength. Yeah, we're not going to melee range with this build. Last but not least is the Mirror Lost. This is the best possibility outcome. There's some great stuff with this. Now, first with the Mirror Lost, you have to pass 2 intelligence checks, usually Arcana or Religion. You pass those. What happens next is you have to take a stat loss. Do not pick Deception because you get nothing, nada. Yeah, that's right, you get voided. So pick one of the losses. I'd probably say something like Dexterity or Constitution. Now, there's 3 possible outcomes you could definitely gain. There's a hidden Charisma check. Now, number 1, you get +1 Charisma and a +2 stat of your choice. With this spell, you can get a total of 3 Charisma, so pick the +2 Charisma on that. Number 2, you don't pass one of the Charisma checks. You only get the +2 stat of your choice, in this case, +2 Charisma. Last but not leastly, you get nothing, nada, if you fail the Charisma checks. Now, at that point, with the Mirror Lost, try to get the +3 Charisma, the +1 and the +2 when you pick it. So let's go over to Mirror Lost on what are the options there. Now, when you get to Act 3 with the Mirror Lost, after you do the checks, here's what you get. Number 1, you get +2 Strength. We're not going to do that. Number 2, we get +2 Dexterity. Number 3 is +2 Charisma. Number 4, you guessed is +2 Intelligence. Number 5 is +2 Wisdom. And number 6 is +2 Charisma. Now, if you got the +1 Charisma special message and then you pick number 6, that's 3 plus Charisma there total. With Auntie Ethel's hair, you get total 24 Charisma if you did the Charisma check right like I did. And oh yeah, the loss, by the way, this is the great news. Remove Curse. Have someone like Shadowheart, Jahiro, or anybody else who could definitely cast Remove Curse to get rid of the loss. However, the gain, you keep that. So let's go over the before and after for the permanent ability score boosts. So let's talk about the before. As if you're level 12, you didn't visit any other place, or you're still holding on to items to use. First of all, you get your strength is at 8, dexterity 16, constitution 14, intelligence 10, wisdom 10, and charisma 20. So that's what you get by the time you're level 12. Now after we do all this stuff, 8 strength, dexterity 16, constitution 14, intelligence 10, wisdom 10, and charisma 22. Now it is 24 if you do 2 things. Spare Auntie Ethel and use the charisma +1 item for yourself. And if you did the mirror loss and got lucky on the +1 charisma bonus. In other words, you got a total of 3 charisma from that mirror, which is very good for this build. So let's talk about Tadpole Powers. I'm going to go ahead and go over the Tadpole Powers. I separated in 2 categories: before and after using Astral Touch Tadpole. So let's start with the before. First of all, favorable beginnings boosts its attack rolls or give you advantage in dialogues. You're going to be using the dialogue part a lot more, so if you need a little bit edge of making sure someone will convince you doing things your way, then go ahead and go for it. Charm prevents a foe attacking you for 1 turn. A foe comes towards you, you hit that charm, and that's it. That's why I didn't pick the charm spell when I leveled up. Shield Thralls make a shield on you or your allies. That's 10 hit points when that blows up. In other words, any foes around the person with the shield or used to have it will get stunned. Very nice crowd control ability. So let's go to the next one. Now let's go ahead and talk about the after Tadpole Powers. So anyways, welcome to the dark side of Baldur's Gate 3 if you did this. Black Hole, OP AoE attacks. So this is 5 charges. It does a lot of damage. It could instant kill certain enemies really badly. I abused this towards the late game stage and it was fun. Fly, gain ability to fly just like the fly spell. So if you need an option to fly around, this is it. Repulsor, AoE pushback damage. So a lot of foes come towards you, you push them away, then you could just use Misty Step or fly away from them. So you cast from a safe distance. Free cast, next ability, spells or anything else is free of charge to use. Like for example, you want to use Chain Lightning, but you don't want to waste a spell slot. Free cast, Chain Lightning, and let them die. And you have to get that back when it's long rest. Illicit expertise, you have deepened your sense of self, gain expertise in the following: persuasion, deception, and intimidation checks. This is great for dialogue. Try to rush to get that, so this way you'll be a smooth talker. That's about it for Tadpole Powers. Let's talk about Gear of Ice. This is split into 2 categories. Gear that you want to get by the end of Act 1, aka before entering the Shadow Curse lands, and in-game gear. So let's go ahead and start with the gear you want by the end of Act 1. Let's go over the headgear. First of all, Circlet Blasting. This will give you automatically Scorching Ray once per long rest, or else 3 rays of fire. Each ray does 2 to 12 fire damage. Blurk sells this in the Underdark at the Mitochondrial Village in Act 1. In fact, buy out his inventory. He has some good stuff there. Here's a good alternative. The Haste Helm gains momentum for 3 rounds. It has 1.5 movement speed per round. This is in a locked chest at the Blighted Village in Act 1. Now, next on the list, the Protectacy Sparks Wall. Now, this is a high spell casting piece of cloth. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC. Now, what happens next? Sparks Wall Armor. The wearer has +1 armor class and saves as long as they have lightning charges. So you combine with one of the jolting, I say, bow and arrows or something else, you'll get that. This is a Robopile in the Grimforge Underdark area, aka Underdark 2 in Act 1. And it's a long process to get, so search everywhere. If you do not want to do that, then the Poisoner's Robe is the way to go. This gives you poison control. When the wearer casts a spell that deals poison damage, it also deals an additional 1d4 poison damage. Yeah, Poison Spray, those will be very useful. Now, if you're up to it, defeat the Spire Matriarch under the Blighted Village in Act 1. Now, another alternative I didn't mention is the Summoner's Robes. That's the reward for siding with the Druid/Tieflings. Let's go over the gloves. Bracers of Defense, gain +2 AC as long as you're not wearing any armor or using any shield. This is a great defensive item. This build, we're not going to use shields. This is under the Blighted Village where the secret necromancy basement is at in Act 1. That's also where Shovel the Cheeky Quads is at. Fun fact, if you decide to use the scroll as a sorcerer, pass some checks, well, Shovel will join your party permanently to summon. So it's another tip from me. Here's the alternative, Gloves of Cinder and Sizzle. This will give you unarmed attacks 1d4 fire damage. In other words, you're not going to use that, but still, you're going to use this. You gain Scorching Ray. Again, same thing as the Circlet, which is nice. Lady Esther sells this at the Mountain Pass in Act 1. She's the one where she's telling you, I want you to steal a Githyanki egg. That one. So let's move on. Now, next up is the Boots of Genial Striding. The wearer's movement speed is unimpeded by difficult terrain. That's a huge bonus. Blurg sells this in the Underdark at the Mitochondrial Village in Act 1. Yeah, he also sells so many things there. Here's a good alternative. Cinder Shoes. When you burn a foe, you get heat. Heat's when you do take 1 to 4 fire damage. However, you gain +1 fire damage on your next fire spell or so. Blurg sells this in the Underdark. Same place, Mitochondrial Village in Act 1. Yeah, you can buy a lot of things from them. Unfortunately, I could not find any cloaks for Act 1. They're all in Act 2 and 3. Next up is the necklaces. Amulet of Misty Step. Gain Misty Step spell to use, just like the spell exactly. In the Shatter Sanctum at True Soul's Gut Quarters in Act 1. There are ways to get through it without, of course, stealing the key or killing Gut for it. But if you kill Gut for it, then yeah, you go in the quarters and get these necklaces. Now there's a nice alternative, which is very good. Pearl of Power Amulet restores 1 spell slot that is level 3 or lower. Now the Mind Flayer by Blurg sells this in the Underdark after completing the Friendly Mind Flayers quest in Act 1. That does involve getting some certain alchemy items in the Arcane Tower. As long as you don't use it, give the Mind Flayer, pass some serious checks. Not only have access to that inventory, you also will have your Mind Flayer powers become bonus actions. That's another tip from me anyways. Let's move on next for the next set of equipment. Now, here are some rings I decided to post up. Now, first of all, Ring of Absolute Force, use of Thunder Wave, just like the spell. If Absolute Branded, you deal 1 extra damage. Sergeant Thrin in the Underdark Grimforge area in Act 1 drops this. Yeah, Underdark 2, either kill him or have someone else kill him, so this way you get this nice ring. Ring of Protection, you gain the following: +1 armor class and +1 saving throws. Completes most quests in Act 1 at the Druid's Camp before either investigating Kaga is done and or saving Halsin in Act 1. So yeah, it's about stealing a statue. If you can pull this off, give it to Mole, you get the ring. Now here's 2 very good alternatives. Crusher's Band. Your movement speeds increased by 3 meters. Either steal or loot Crusher for this in the Goblin Camp in Act 1. It's a very nice movement ring. The Sparks Falling happens when you use this ring or equip it. Cannot be electrocuted. That's a bonus. Electric resistance does increase. That's a double bonus there. This is at the Arcane Tower basement, Underdark in Act 1. There are some things in the Arcane Tower, so raid the place up. Here are some weapons. Staff of Crones. You gain Rain of Sickness, just like the spell, which does 2 to 12 damage and can poison your targets. Now, this is at the Acrylic Workshop where you fought Auntie Ethel at for the first time in Act 1. Here, get the key from her cold dead corpse. Or if you made a deal with her, Jimmy lock in her room and go in there and steal it. Here's a nice alternative. Melt's First Staff. You gain Arcane Enchantment. That means you gain +1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. This is really useful. And 1 free use until long rest of Melt's acid arrows, just like the spell. Our friend Blurg sells this in the Underdark Mitochondrial Colony once again in Act 1. Like I said before, raid his inventory. He has some great stuff to buy. Now, please note for the ranged weapons, I'm only using it really for the designated items, not going to shoot with it. Hunting Short Bow, Feller of Monsters, you have advantage against monstrous type of enemies. Now, it has 1 use of Hunter's Mark before long rest. In other words, it does 1 to 6 damage wherever you're using. This is great for melees when you mark the target. Damien sells this at the Druid's Grove in Act 1. Use Hunter's Mark for the tough fights. Now, I would say otherwise, just use your spells for range, to be honest. I mean, you're a sorcerer. You're a very powerful sorcerer. So let's go ahead and get to the endgame gear. Please note this is very important. If it says an act and an area, make sure you do not leave said act and area until you get said item. So here we go for headgear. Hood of the Weave. This gives you Arcane Enchantment. You gain a +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Sold by Mr. Carroll in Act 3. Now, if you cannot get this yet, go ahead, go for this, unless your charisma is already at 22. Birthright, this gives you +2 charisma. Max on that is 22 total. So if you have not done anything else like that, then of course get this. If you've done everything else, like the Mirror Lost, etc., avoid this, but still it's a nice alternative. Sold at the Sorcerer Sundries in Act 3. Now let's go to the next set of equipment. Next off are cloaks. They are really good. Cloak of the Weave, you gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. For this build, it's real nice. You also get this Absorb Elemental. This absorbs elemental damage once per short rest. You can also take half elemental damage next time you hit with it. And of course, you deal the same elemental damage with 1d6 on your next attack. So by Helsk at the Devil's Feet in Act 3, you won't have to sweet talk Helskin, of course, into, you guessed it, to get to that special inventory. You have high charisma. I mean, come on, you'll be able to do with these. Here's a good alternative. Cloak of Protection, +1 AC and +1 saving throws. No restrictions after that. So by Core Master Tally at the last light in Act 2. Clean out Core Master Tally's inventory of magical items because, yeah, she sells some real good stuff there. Here's some robes, I should say, for this build. Potent robes. Your level 0 spells deal additional damage equals to your charisma modifier. So, for example, if your charisma modifier is 6, then you'll be add +6 to your level 0 spells damage. At the beginning of the wearer's turn, also, the robe activates, granting them temporary hit points equals their charisma modifier. Again, if your charisma modifier, for example, is 5, you get 5 free hit points. Farah, that is the cool tiefling bard, rewards you this after rescuing the tiefling's quest is complete at the last light in Act 2. In other words, once you jailbreak the tieflings out of prison, she'll reward you this. All tieflings must live. Now here's a good alternative. Robe of the Weave. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Whenever the wearers to see a saving throw against a spell, they regenerate 1 to 6 hit points. This is located inside the Grove of Invulnerability at Ramzit's Tower in Act 3. Yeah, in other words, have someone like Gale bust it open for you, so this way you get these robes. Since you're going to need Intelligence and Arcana. Let's move on to the next set of equipment. Let's go over the gloves. Gemini gloves. Your level 0 spells that usually targets foes and allies can be targeted for additional creature. So you want to target Blade Ward for your allies, then pop these suckers. Not only you could do 1 target of that, you could do 2 now. Same thing with damaging spells on an enemy eater twice. Yeah, it could be targeted the same at foes twice, especially useful with Firebolt. Or in case Warlocks use it for their Eldritch Blast. This can be used once per short rest. That's a nice bonus as well. So by Helsk at the Devil's Feet in Act 3, just talk to this NPC, sweet talk this NPC of course, and you have access to this inventory. You're a sorcerer, you'll easily do it. Here's a good alternative. Quick spell gloves. Your level 0 spells cost you normally an action, just like your other spells. Instead, when you click a special icon for it, it costs a bonus action. Really useful. So you want to cast a level 0 spell to soften foes up. Then, of course, you use these gloves, and afterwards, you get to use where you want to next. This is also used for once per short rest. This is sold at the Sorcerer's Sundries in Act 3 here by Roland. If Roland's not there, Roland most likely bought the farm. So let's move on. It's time to go over the boots. If you decide to take someone's, or I should say, for instance, disintegrating Nightwalker boots, that's fine, but here's some good alternatives as well. Boots of Arcane Bolstering. Each time you dash, the wearer gains Arcane Charge for 2 turns. Arcane Charge is when you get a +2 bonus to spell damage, which is really nice. Run, and boom. There you go. You lose your bonus action, but still, hey, you do +2 bonus on spell damage. Aja, that is the Strength Potion NPC at the Moonrise Tower, sells this in Act 2. Clean out her inventory and, yeah, play it cool at the Moonrise Towers because this NPC sells some very valuable endgame items. Here's another alternative. Helldust Boots cannot be moved by magical or normal means, so in other words, can't be pushed around. Immune to difficult terrain for a sorcerer, extremely useful. When you fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to succeed instead. Bad dice, hit the reaction, and you're set. Probably once per long rest. Teleports to an area. When this teleport lands, you do 2 to 16 fire damage. Great way to get behind enemies' lines, fire damage, run away, then cast a nice spell. This is in Lord Gortash's room in a locked chest in Act 3. Either steal the key from Lord Gortash, or better yet, kill Lord Gortash for the key to get these boots. Here are the necklaces. Spellcrux Amulet. Your spell slot is restored. This is expendable spell slot of any level. You get to restore as a bonus action. This is only once per long rest. So for example, you want to restore that level 6 spell slot. Pop this amulet special ability and boom, that level 6 spell slot is back into play. The Warden in Moonrise Tower Prison drops this in Act 2. If you decide to side with the Absolute, steal from the Warden. Asteron's really useful for that. Here's the alternative. This is a real good one. Amulet of Greater Health. Your Constitution is set to 23. You'll also have advantages on Constitution saving throws. In the archives at the House of Hope in Act 3, you steal the Orphic Hammer. Not only steal this, steal the Gloves of Hill Giant Strength and give that to Lizelle. I'm just saying. Let's move on to the rings. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the One Ring. Well, not really, but still, the One Ring is cool. Anyways, here's the first ring, Killer Sweetheart. When you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit. Self-same trial in the Gauntlet Shard in Act 2. Usually your clone drops this, so don't get the Umbrella Orb. Instead, loot the body, get the ring, and you're all set. Shifting Corpus Rings, you gain the following 2 spells. Each of them requires long rest. Invisibility, just like the spell, and Blur makes you a little bit harder to hit. Now, Flaming Fist Marcus at the Last Light Inn in Act 2 drops this. Now, if you side with the Cultist, aka the Absolute, then I would do is if you see Flaming Fist Marcus again, go ahead and steal the item from him. Here's 2 alternatives I decided to list. Ring of Free Action. You ignore the effects of difficult terrain and cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Yeah, that's a Strength Potion NPC Lay, who also sells some many wonderful endgame gear items at the Moonrise Towers in Act 2 sells this. Again, play it cool there. Last but not least is Crypt Lord Ring, creates undead. So you find a corpse that's small or medium that will turn into a mummy that will fight for you. Exactly like the, I think it's level 6 spell. Kill the Mystic Charon for this in Act 3. Shop at the Mystic Charon's inventory, then decide on the quest to turn against the Mystic Charon. Get the ring, you're golden. Let's get to the staffs. I'm going to go ahead and go over the 2 weapons that you should definitely get, or I should say, again, staffs. Marco Heshka. This is a very powerful legendary staff. You gain +1 bonus not only to spell save DC, you also gain that on spell attack rolls. Yeah, that's 2 nice things. You also gain Arcane Battery. This is when you click the icon. When this happens, the next spell you cast is free of charge to use. In other words, for example, you want to use Chain Lightning, but you don't want to expend a level 6 spell slot. Hit the Arcane Battery icon, then cast Chain Lightning. Then, of course, you have the level 6 spell slot for other things. Kirshka's Favor. You gain 50% resistance of your choice for the elemental you pick and 2 spells. The fire one, by the way, is Fireball. And you'll see that demonstration later on, of course. This is located inside the Glove of Invulnerability at the Ramsitz Tower in Act 3. Same spot where you get the robes that have, of course, Gale to do that opening up for you. Since that requires intelligence and arcana checks, I should say. Staff of Spell Power, you gain +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, exactly like the legendary staff. You gain Arcane Battery, exactly like the legendary staff. That's all you gain. You don't gain any special favor. This is found in a locked room in the House of Hope in Act 3. Now, here are the ranged weapons. Again, we're just using these for the clicky item and the stats for it. Dark Fire Shortbow. This is a +2 shortbow. Gains resistance to fire and ice. Can cast haste, just like the spell, which is good once per long rest. Damien sells this in Act 2 at the Last Light Inn. Now, for some reason you missed it, you might get lucky by buying this in Act 3 at the Forge of the Nine that Damien is there that sells it as well. Get it in Act 2. My advice is use the haste feature only for this short bow. And I'm going to say it once again, use your level 0 to 6 spells because that's your ranged DPS. I mean, come on. You're a sorcerer. That's it for equipment. Let's go over potions and elixirs. I am going to go ahead and recommend some potions and elixirs to use. Now, please note, I did not put oils there because one main reason, they're used for melee weapons. You're not meleeing, you're using range damage. So let's start out with the potions. Let's go ahead and talk about the healing potions. They're a must, all types. Yeah, you're going to need to be healing yourself from time to time. And yeah, your healer goes down, you should have a potion ready at all times to heal yourself. Potion of Haste is 1 OP potion. Gain an extra action, +2 AC, advantages on dex saving throws, and double movement speed. Downside is you get a little bit worn out after using it. However, this is what I call a boss killer potion. You'll really use it for tough encounters. Potion of Flying. This is exactly the same as the flying spell. That's why I did not recommend any form of flying magic to memorize. Yeah, so this is very useful in case you want to go to places away from enemies. Honorable mention is the Potion of Vaulting that gives your jump a bit more higher and longer. Now, last but not least, this one's important. Potion of Angelic Slumber. When you drink this, you go to sleep for 2 rounds. When you wake up after the second round is done, you're healed just like a long rest. So all your spell slots are restored. This is a extremely useful potion to abuse. Let's go to Elixirs. Now, up to bat for the Elixirs is the Elixir of Vigilance. Gain +5 bonus to initiative, which is really good and cannot be surprised. So some folks get to jump on you. This is really useful. Elixirs of Viciousness. Increase your chance to land a critical hit. Spells, melee, whatever. So for instance, in order to roll a critical hit dice, it has to be 19 to 20 on certain spells or so. Now it'll be 18. Elixir of Blood Loss. Upon killing your foe, you gain 5 hit points and an extra bonus action. This is extremely useful, especially if you're using meta magic. Elixir of Peerless Focus. Gain advantage on concentration saves. There'll be some spells you're going to be concentrating on. However, this is a great advantage for you to abuse. Last but not least, the Supreme Elixir of Arcane Cultivation. Grants an additional level 4 spell slot. There's some good level 4 spells. Ice Storm is one of them. You get an extra shot of using that. That's about it for potions and elixirs. Let's go ahead and do the combat test. So when you do start out, you're going to have to learn what type of spells you want to go ahead and use your meta magic on. There's some good spells that will actually help you out greatly for just all that. So I'm just demonstrating right now with combat. I just started it. And there you go. We'll just make sure all the goblins are together and we get to abuse them. You'll see why in a few moments. Now, sorcerers, meta magic, it's like OP and abusive. So we're going to go ahead and do a nice, what I call is the quick one. So we're going to try aim for 4. Let's see if I could do this right. If not, we'll go for 3. Okay, just the tactical view. Still, early on, you're not going to get Fireball. Scorching Ray is a good spell to abuse meta magic with. However, once you get Fireball, yeah, many weak foes will get one-shotted. And now I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate with my normal spell use this. Just watch. And yeah, already we cleared the battlefield with ease. So let me see if I could do one more demonstration if I can. Unfortunately, I cannot. But still, you just turn a many-round battle to a one-round battle early on. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate, I should say, another battle in Act 2. When you do get more and more powerful, you get more spells, more meta magic, a whole bunch of more things. And you get to also do some more quickening spells, twinning spells, you name it. So we're just go ahead and do some quickening. We have Elemental Affinity, which is fire resistance, so in case they decide to do fire, which is good. We weaken that side, so things will be looking very good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just twin it up. So let's do that. And I'll go ahead and do this. There we go. Yeah, just remember, conserve your points for the toughest encounter. I'm just testing this out for the normal one. So let me go ahead and try a distance spell if I can. Okay, that's not good. Okay, I just could do normal magic instead of distance. But still, I'm just going to go ahead and just save it. Now, I just basically cleared out, I should say, half the armies there. Yeah, your sorcerer's going to be either doing 2 things. Clearing half the battlefield or, yeah, make this a one-round fight. Still, you're going to be very powerful with this character. I'm just demonstrating right now because our sorcerer kicks some serious butt. All we need to do is just bring our other characters' best spells and abilities out, and we'll win the day. There we go. Most of the enemies are gone, thanks to our sorcerer starting things out rightfully so. Another advice I'm going to give everybody is definitely cast Mirror Image and Haste before battling tough encounters, especially during boss fights, to help you out big time. So this way you have all the buffing out of the way. We'll finish this battle. After that, I'll give my advice on this build. Yeah, we're about to say goodbye-bye to these 2 foes. This one laying on a job thanks to our sorcerer. And this orb that's been nicely weakened for us all. So bye-bye on that one. Here are some final advice before I do end this build video. And here we go. Now, when you level up, during the process, if you don't like certain spells to use, you can always change them in and out. Make sure you pick mostly damage spells, especially AoE ones. Use your meta magic at the right time. So, for example, if there's a room full of foes, yeah, good idea to do your quickening one or anything else like the matter. Another thing is, if you need summons, you'll have to use scrolls for it, unfortunately. Now, if there's any items that will give you nice, I should say, spells, just like the one you memorize or didn't memorize when you pick your leveling up as your sorcerers, take advantage of that. Especially Melf's first, I should say, staff, because it gives you Melf's acid arrow to freely use. Now, when you later on get to the leveling up process, you get Disintegrate or any powerful single shot spells. Use your meta magic against certain bosses, so this way you cast it twice on the same boss to do some serious damage. As always, make sure you're really not the main attraction. Let your, I should say, for instance, a paladin or a fire be that. If you need to get away, as always, I should say, definitely go ahead and use Misty Step. It's always your friend. Other than that, experiment with tactics, and as always, save your game in case things go sideways. Oh yeah, one more thing. Your talking skills are really powerful, and you get to abuse those like crazy, because you'll control the talking, and many things will go your way. Now, this is it from my Baldur's Gate 3 Pure Sorcerer Draconic Bloodline Draconic Fury build video. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thanks for watching, and have a great day or night. Do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern Dungeons & Dragons walkthroughs, builds, guides, and more just like this. If you like what you see, then go ahead and pick my suggestion on the upper left-hand corner, or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and relax in this nice chair.